A storm is coming. Mason Storm. I can't even hold a straight face. That name is so absurd, it sounds like a comic book character or a porn star. Let's get into it. And if you're a fan of Steven Seagal, especially his earlier films, you'll know the movie I'm referencing is Hard to Kill. Yes, Steven Seagal's character in this movie is named Mason Storm, which is kind of badass in a cheesy way. But like I said in the intro, it kind of reminds me of a comic book character's name or a goddamn porn star's. Who knows? But anyway, yes, this movie came out in February of 1990. It had a budget of $10 million, dollars, and it actually was Steven Seagal's first big hit. It made $47 million dollars when it was released that year. Actually, he had two movies out that year. He had Hard to Kill came out in February, and then later on in the year, he had Marked for Death. I prefer Marked to Death. I think it's a way better directed film, but I do like this film as well. So, this movie was directed by Bruce Malmuth. Now, Bruce Malmuth, looking at his filmography, the man has since passed away, but he did a lot of TV, mostly all TV, and it shows. Back then, TV directors aren't like today. Back then, TV directors, when they did a movie, you could kind of tell they're TV directors. Not to say the movie's filmed badly. There's just not much style there. There's really not. But it's serviceable. I mean, I guess, again, the action scenes in Marked for Death and Above the Law, the movie that Steven Seagal did before this, are way better directed. But, anyway. Also in this film is Kelly LeBrock, who was married to Steven Seagal at the time and only did this film as a favor to her husband because at that point she had retired from acting. But he asked her to be in it, and she said yes. Helps that you're married, that your wife would take one for the team to do it. The great William Sadler is also in this film as the scumbag senator. And William Sadler is always great in any movie he's in. He brings his A game. And this movie, Steven Seagal plays a cop yet again. Imagine that. A badass cop. No shit, huh? But it's okay. That's why we go see these goddamn movies, right? And at the beginning of the film, he's on surveillance down at the docks. And he's filming. A group of guys are standing around the dock, and he's filming it. When he's satisfying he's got what he needs, which for a cop, I'm shocked that he didn't know the senator was there, but I don't, it's possible he didn't know that, but it's kind of weird. He goes to leave, and he has an encounter with one of the goons. He knocks the goon out and leaves. On the way home, he thinks he gets away with nobody knowing he was there. Unfortunately for Steven Seagal, and we'd have no movie, they know it was him, and they know where he lives, and it's going to come back to bite him in the ass very shortly. He stops at a market on the way home. He has an interaction with the store owner, and before he can leave, a bunch of thugs come in, kill the store owner, and Steven Seagal takes them all out in various ways. Goes home to his wife and his young boy. Him and his wife go to bed, and before you know it, a bunch of guys show up. They shoot him with a shotgun right in his midsection. He goes out, takes a couple out, gets shot again, and then they shoot and kill his wife. And then I think he gets even shot a third time. He takes a couple of the guys out, or hurts them, injures a couple guys, but the chances of him living through what he went through are probably not going to happen in real life, but it's not real life. So, but Steven Seagal's son gets away. Steven Seagal is taken to the hospital, and his best friend O'Malley shows up. Now, we all hope we have a friend like O'Malley. This guy's legit awesome best friend. The shit this guy does to protect Steven Seagal's character and his kid is class all the way. And O'Malley shows up, and the bad guys that try to kill Steven Seagal plant drugs at his house and make him look like a dirty cop. And O'Malley overhears one of the police officers say, "Everybody thought Mason Storm was unstoppable. Now we know why. He was coked up the whole time." And O'Malley gives it to him. And a doctor comes out and tells the cops that Storm has passed away. He's dead. The cops leave. O'Malley's still hanging around, and another doctor comes out and asks him, "Are you with the police department?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm on the case. What's going on?" He goes, "I got a live cop here. Barely alive. He's in a coma, but he's alive." And O'Malley talks to the hospital, and to change Mason Storm's name, changes to John Doe, somebody off the street, and go with Mason Storm passed away. Now, I don't know what body they buried at the cemetery when they had a funeral, but that's the scheme. And so everybody thinks Mason Storm's dead. So Steven Seagal's character wakes up several years... Well, first of all, we're introduced to Kelly LeBrock, who is a nurse at this unit in the hospital that deals with people that are in comas. And you can tell she likes Steven Seagal's character. She talks to him, brings a cat in to hang out with him, stuff like that. And there's one part she gets called away, but she finishes... She's talking, whispering in his ear, "You're going to come out of this, I have faith." And then before she turns and walks away, I just watched this last night again, and I was laughing my ass off like I usually do because it's so over the top and crazy that somebody would do this. She lifts up the blanket, looks at his penis, and goes, "You have so much to live for." And I'm like, I wonder how many rules and regulations she just broke. But it was 1990. I guess that might fly back then. I don't think it did, but who knows? I was only 11 at the time, so God knows what went on back then. And not too long ago, one of the henchmen for the senator shows up, and this guy is an over-the-top a-hole. Like, he's throughout the whole movie, he doesn't say much, but he's just an over-the-top prick in every way to everybody. And he kills a security guard and this other guy. And Steven Seagal can't defend himself. He can't move that well, which I like. He's very vulnerable in this situation, which is kind of cool for Steven Seagal to be. And with Kelly LeBrock's help, they get away. And they go to hide in this big-ass house that Kelly LeBrock is house-sitting for this doctor who's in China doing research. Very conveniently, but what the hell. And she helps nurse him back to health. And before you know it, we see some scenes of him struggling, trying to get his faculties back. And then before you know it, he's back to fighting strength. And they find O'Malley. Steven Seagal gets his gun back, and O'Malley's like, I have the audio tape. We need a videotape. We can clear your name, all this shit. So they get what they need, and Steven Seagal is told his son's still alive. O'Malley said, I protected him. I passed him off as my son. He's going to a private school. He's safe. And O'Malley gets killed defending Steven Seagal's son. And then we have there's action scenes I'm glossing over. And we have our final battle at the senator's mansion. And Steven Seagal basically kills everybody but the senator. By the time he's going to kill the senator, the cops show up. They have seen the tape, and they know the senator's dirty, and that Mason Storm is clean. And they arrest the senator, and Steven Seagal gets to live out his days with Kelly LeBrock and his son. The end of the movie. This movie is 92 minutes. And the reason it's 92 minutes is the movie was originally 30 minutes longer. So these plot points that get glossed over, the story about him recovering, 30 minutes of the movie was cut out. That's why it's just basically cut down to the bone. It's the basic story, which really, I can see why Warner Brothers did it. Would you have sat there and watched a 2-hour movie about Steven Seagal struggling to get back? You go to this movie because you want to see Steven Seagal get back in shape and kick these people's asses. That's pretty much what you want to see, and that's what they gave us. And it ended up being a hit for him. And we got more Steven Seagal movies, which wasn't a bad thing. I mean, I like Steven Seagal. He's not my favorite action star, but this movie's good. It's not my favorite Steven Seagal movie, but I like it. I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. I like Mark Fredette. The movie that came out later that year, I like a lot better, but I do like this film. So 7 out of 10 for me for Hard to Kill. Have you seen this film? What are your thoughts on it? Leave a comment down below. I'd appreciate if you hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Hit the subscribe button too. I'd appreciate that as well. And I will be back soon with another review. Thanks and have a great day. See you next time. Out.